Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Stretch of Identity podcast. I'm your host, Shelly Rabang. This is a podcast where we speak to first and second generation Canadian entrepreneurs. We tend to unfold their stories in which they feel that they haven't had a chance to share, and even just a chance for us to connect with one another. So today we have Vanessa, a mental health therapist. Hello. I think I'm super excited to talk to you about your work and everything, and really the mental health, stigma in the Filipino culture. So let's get right into it. I'm gonna have you lay down on your back. Did you grow up in Winnipeg?
I did, yeah. Born and raised in Winnipeg.
Okay, what area did you grow up in?
I grew up in the central part. So, although there were a lot of Filipinos, I would say I also grew up in a diverse community. There were a lot of ethnicities.
But were you encouraged to go to school for a specific topic?
Yes, and being Filipino and just observing, the careers people in my family chose. A lot of it was the healthcare field. So a lot of people as medical office assistants, healthcare aides, and nurses. And I know that's something that my father expected of me, to become a nurse.
Right. Right. Did you end up going to school for that, or did you go right into mental health?
Funny story. So I think right after I graduated high school, I knew I originally wanted to work with kids, but just with the friends I grew up with and family, I didn't really share my ideas of what I wanted to do for work, because I just felt like my decisions wouldn't be understood or respected. And I know sometimes them pressing a certain career on me was their way of showing me that they wanted what was best for me.
Right.
And I know at the end of the day, my parents want to see me be able to provide for myself and my future family, right? So they would always press for me to be a nurse.
Right.
So I think I shared this with you during our last conversation. I was very quiet about the decisions I made. Yeah, so I took medical office assistant. Funny story. That's just how I wanted to kind of tippy toe in the healthcare field. And then if I wanted to be a nurse, sure, but I just wanted to do that to
just satisfy.
Yeah, just to satisfy my family, right?
Right.
And after I graduated, I actually didn't work as well. Yeah, so that was a waste of money. Well, I don't want to say a waste, because I'm still learning who I am, right? I think that's a big part of who you are, 18 to 29 years old.
Yeah.
So I think around 21, I landed a job working with individuals with intellectual disabilities. And I think, that was a blessing in disguise, because...
was that support worker?
Yeah, it was. So I landed that job at a very young age. I think it was 20. So yeah, I didn't work at the hospital like I thought I was going to.
Right.
And funny story, I actually don't remember applying for the job. So I think it was all a blessing, because I remember I walked out of an interview at a pharmacy, and I think I didn't end up getting it, and then I ended up getting the call. Yeah. So I'm okay, my parents are not going to be happy about this, because I know they want me to work as one. Yeah. They want to be proud of me, but I didn't end up getting it. Yeah. So obviously I didn't tell them, but then I think I remember I was still taking the bus at that time. Yeah. So I remember I got a call in that place, and I forgot I applied, but something just told me to go.
Right.
And I think the stars aligned.
Yeah.
So I think naturally working there, it opened my passion for helping people and working in social services. I think just growing up with people telling me what they want for me,
right,
and how my life should look like. I wanted this to be something that's my own,
right,
and something that was my decision.
Right. Okay, so how did you transition from being a coaching business to now, because I was 2018, to now a therapy, a therapist business, I guess? What is there a difference?
With coaching, you're still helping individuals,
right,
but you're not doing things such as a suicide ideation, risk assessment.
First of all, working in mental health as a Filipina, from what you're telling me, like a family that doesn't often share their emotions, how did it feel for you, like when they found out that you're a mental health therapist? What was your initial feelings in that moment?
I think they found it at the right time, when everything was completed and I accomplished all my goals.
When did they find out?
It was after I got the award.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. So, for the audience, so just a little backstory. Vanessa and I, we recorded an episode before. Just something didn't work out for audio or anything. And what I found out on Vanessa's Instagram was that she was voted as a finalist for Woman Entrepreneur of the Year. And I noticed that she was the only woman of color on the panel. And then I was like, how do you feel about being the only woman of color on the panel? She was like, what? I'm like, yeah, like you're the only person of color, right?
I know, that was like, when you said that, I'm like, I did not even realize.
Pat your back, girl, because damn, that's an itchy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I did not. So like, you're the first person that actually highlighted it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, I think when you said that during our first camera roll, like it kind of like put like a different layer to how I feel about that achievement.
Yeah.
And just like being a voice, like I know I didn't grow up like traditionally Filipino, but I think I'm 35 now.
Yeah.
But like now, like in my early 30s, I'm learning how to get in touch with my roots.
Let's talk about that. So that is also another reason why I really wanted to talk to you. Is what, like, so in your perspective, and I feel like I can relate, in your perspective, what is the traditional Filipino, or growing up in the traditional Filipino way?
I'd say, it's known that Filipinos, they're very close with their family. They have a lot of gatherings, like every month. My family's not really the type to get together. I didn't grow up on the traditional, calling my older sister ate or kuya, or even like calling my Lola, right? I call her grandma.
Really? Interesting. And you're, just to confirm, you're second generation, so you're born here?
Yes, I am.
Oh, and then how old were your parents when they moved here?
I think they were just like early 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
I mean, I do have like still, the taste of, traditional Filipino, but then I think, as I'm like molding my own identity and the community I grew up in and the people that I chose to surround myself with, I guess, I just had a different experience with, what it meant to be Filipino.
Right. And so that is something, so again, I feel like I can relate in terms of like, finding out what it means to be Filipino, because same. I grew up in a family that does not celebrate much, but honestly, girl, it's because my parents were working all the time for my family, right? And but the biggest thing is, girl, I know like long time ago when I would be like a teenager or something like that, in like early 20s, when I would drive around, because I live right by Caldona Park, is we would drive through Caldona Park, and then I remember just seeing like all these big parties of Filipinos, and I used to like yearn for
I remember
that.
those parties, yeah.
Right? Because I'm just like, I remember not having that and being jealous of the fact that people, that they would have that, you know what I mean? Okay, so drawing it back to like mid-30s, what would you say, what would you say was a turning point for yourself being a mental health therapist and wanting to connect back to your cultural roots?
I think just like observing how my family was. I mean, we weren't always together as a whole, but when we were eating, we were laughing, we were drinking, right? But I think there was also like a disconnect. There was just always that wall that I felt was there, and when I talked to my friends who are Filipino, they felt the same. And I know with mental health, I think a lot of like our parents think it doesn't exist or it's all in your head. And
Literally, that's what they say.
you literally just have to turn to God, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just, I mean, again, it's out of love, but that could also, dismiss, the underlying issue, right?
Yeah, definitely. As much as I love my mom and my dad, but I can see how unhappy they are, right? I can see how, again, like I'm very thankful that they've provided like a shelter and food. Like I will never go hungry in their home, but a very difficult conversation that I have with them nowadays as an adult is I would get into a fight with them about what are you doing for yourself that makes you happy? And then they would say like, I don't care about being happy. We have a house, we have food, we have clothes, we have water, what else do you need? That's literally what they would say, especially my dad. What else do we need? Right? But it's like, but when I look at them and I see how it's just mindless movement sometimes, and it breaks me. It breaks me because like I wish that I can help them to figure out what's going to make them happy, but they're already so far off into their own world of surviving. They're still in the state of surviving, right? So
and a lot of what they say is just sacrifice, right? I think a lot of what we kind of observed with our parents was they come last.
Yeah, and a very common one.
Taking care of yourself is looked at as selfish.
That's crazy. The Western way.
And I think that like kind of goes back to our first topic, right? I know it like blows your mind that I hit it, but I wanted to do something that made me happy, right? And I think even talking about it in my earlier days of working on it, it kind of would have like deterred me from my original goal.
Right, exactly. What I don't know the process of that, but like, were you nominated for Entrepreneur of the Year? Like, how does that work?
I think somebody has to refer you. So, yeah, people have to like write a letter.
That's so awesome.
To Women in Business Manitoba.
That's so
why you deserve it. So I don't know if I told you when I got the letter.
No.
It's a funny story. Like I have a fear of receiving physical letters. So when I got it, it arrived in my office. I thought I was getting sued.
Oh my god, of course. Just like
so I didn't open it for a week.
Yeah.
Oh no. I opened it, I had to like finally like pick up the courage to like rip it open. Like, oh my
no
god,
way. And it's always so opposite.
All this unnecessary anxiety. Yeah.
Just good news waiting on your table. Wow, hey. What did your parents say to that? Like, did you
didn't tell them right away. No,
way.
I got it. Like I think I got the nomination in summer of 2020. A while now, but then I think just with COVID and everything just being backed up,
right?
I actually accepted like the physical award.
Oh, nice.
In November of 2021.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
And I think that's when they kind of started picking up because I think I posted something on Facebook. Because they screenshot it.
Yeah, sending it. Yeah,
send
what
it.
Is this?
Yeah.
Congrats to my.
Yeah, so I think that's when my mom started getting like.
Oh,
nosy.
Wait a second. She's not an admin. You can't get this as an admin. Yeah. Did they still think that you were doing administration?
Yeah, I think so.
Way.
And like working at the home care too.
That's crazy. Okay. So okay.
But I think again, they found out at the right time, right?
Right.
When I was just like very confident with the decisions I made.
Yeah, 100%. It is very reassuring for me as someone who. Same, right? Who hasn't grown up in a traditional Filipino household and grew up with the same connection that I would have.
Just being this independent woman.
Yeah.
Building on my first self, right?
Yeah, and I appreciate it. Like I appreciate your openness about that, especially in the conversations that you and I have had, because I still do feel a bit of like I do feel disconnect with what I'm doing, because like you said, like I don't feel in the moment that I have had the support from the people who I wanted the support from. But again, it's knowing people like yourself who have dealt with similar things, right? That clearly it doesn't matter, like whether you get the support or not, whether that's of choice to share that your successes or not, it is staying true to yourself and staying authentic to yourself and that's what gives you sense of fulfillment.
That's something I've always been big on, and I know going back to even you questioning yourself, like when you ask your parents, like, what makes you happy?
Yeah.
But
That's
I
crazy.
mean, I do agree, like,
Yeah.
you know, your take on, you know, they do seem far off and resistant to make changes. Which is
Well,
kind of sad too.
It's so sad. It's so sad. And that's why, like, for myself as an adult now, like, when I interact with them, and I'm still practicing it, like, it's so interesting because when I talk to another tita, I talk to them like I talk to every single person, you know, like, even my titas now, like, there's a whole other story that I don't want to dive into because we don't have time. But it's interesting because I noticed that the conversations I have with like other titas or like any other elder is not the same sense of conversation I can have with my parents. The reason why I say that is because so many people have recommended that I just talk to my parents like they're just another person, you know, but it's so hard to practice that.
It is, right? Especially if you didn't have that foundation with them.
100%. If you were to have a piece of advice that you would have for yourself from the ages of 18 to 29, what would that piece of advice be in terms of like connecting to your parents or like being open about what you want?
Honestly, I think the best piece of advice I got when I was picking other entrepreneurs' brains was, you know what you want and just go for it. And I think someone else said, you know, go back to 5-year-old Vanessa and like what she wanted to be when she grew up, right?
Right.
You know, those are clues, right?
Right.
So just listening to it because it is telling you something.
You know, 5-year-old Shelly wanted to be a dentist because I took out a tooth. And I was like, wow, I can do something. I do not want to be a dentist. So sorry, 5-year-old Shelly, I'm not a dentist. I'm not pulling out teeth. Maybe in these stories I am, but no, awesome. I just want to thank you again for joining the podcast and sharing your story. It's very like refreshing in a different sense how, again, everyone has a different upbringing, everyone has different relationships with their parents, so it's very reassuring that not everyone has the same experience growing up, and even still we can still succeed. Okay, and so for our audience listening, where can they find you?
My Instagram is thehealingproject.me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you
That's my
again.
other platform, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you can
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Vanessa. Again, I'm Shelly, the host, and thank you all for joining, and then we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Sounded so snarky.
Yeah. I was like, what can I ask and what can I not